opportunity to make a blessing. Thanks to Cecilia, brought me some tea. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol nihiyah bidvaro. L'chaim. Well, I don't expect everyone to just be able to do these blessings, but I think that if we think about it a little more, it'll come to you more naturally. This blessing, Shahakol Niyah Bidvaro, that everything God made is according to his will, is like the most basic blessing because it means everything. Technically, you can make the blessing Shahakol on anything. If you just knew one blessing, yeah, yeah, that's yeah, yeah. But what takes precedent? Is it the liquid or is it the tea? What's the main part? Probably liquid. Hey, to those that are joining on Instagram, shalom, welcome aboard. It's a pleasure to have you. We're going to talk a little about Torah and really good to have you on board. I always like to ask those that are watching, where are you watching from? Get a little sense of who our people are, where they're at. We're gonna connect one more account. We're gonna jump right into it. We're right now on. The first of every month is actually. We're gonna try to connect to. No, I don't know. Can't do it here. Too bad. Well, you know what? Do this. I just go live on the wrong channel. Go live. Yeah. All right. Torah for Humanity. Shalom. Rabbi Raps here. You are together with a wonderful group of people. And today's mitzvah, our group right here, is giving out coats to the homeless, right? We have a lot of coats going to Atlantic City. So thank you everyone for bringing or for schlepping or for buying, whatever you did. Good job. Definitely winter wear. There's a lot of, right. There's a lot of stuff being donated. Like, look at your house. Like, there's just garbage bags of stuff that you're going to get rid of every few years, right? Times that by all the people, they can't give it. And a lot of the people, they're just not going to take, socks and whatever. But a winter coat is something substantial that I think people. I literally given I have one that I didn't bring in because it's going to go right back out. Right? And in my head today, right. Yeah, you have to be careful also. But just in Atlantic City, it's a lot of interesting personalities. There's people who have the signs up. Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm just talking about just don't go down the wrong alley in Atlantic City. Hashem. Got it. All right, welcome aboard. Let's see how everyone's Hebrew's doing. Let's fold our alphabet. And who wants to get ready for being tested? Who wants to go for it? We're teaching our Noahites, our B'nai Noach, how to read alphabet. Who wants to go for it? Any volunteers? What? Yeah. All right. Okay. Yeah. How about backwards? Go for it. Yeah. Go. Oh. Yeah. 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 Good job. All right. All right. Tony is going to be working for an Israeli company soon. Anyone else want to try? All right. Want to go for it? We'll do it together, just so everyone knows. Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey. Again, Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey. The holiday of Hanukkah is coming up. And when you spend the little dreidel, the little top, it has 4 letters. If you get the gimel, you win. You win everything in the pot. It's like a little gambling game. We like to teach the kids at a young age. And then, of course, Hey is for Hashem. There are also numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Hey is 5. Bet. What do you mean? Oh, it does? Oh, the word Hey, yeah, it has like the meaning of the word, like Bet means house and Gimel means Gamal, means camel. Yeah, I have a friend by the name of Gamal, last name. They must have dealt with camels, like camel dealer back in the day, What? Buy it? Yeah, base or bias. Or bet. Base, bet. Right? Very good. It's could be both. If it has a dot, it's a bet. If it has no dot, like here, it's technically a bet. Well, it's like siblings. Bet, bet. Buy it. Vet would be, levavcha. All your heart. Have bet. Leave. Lamed vav. Leave is heart. Bet. Okay. So we're going to keep doing this. You guys will get it. You guys will get it. Next week, maybe you guys will try. All right. Next week, I'm giving you 5 more letters. I'm just telling you. So. Yeah, you can take a picture of your phone, by the way. That'll be the easiest way to do this. All right. Pay and pay. Similar concept. Yeah, kaf kaf. All right. Guys, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Torah portion last week. And I want to teach some lessons connected to it. And then we're going to do some of the questions that we have. All right. And then, of course, if there's anyone has any questions or topics at the end, we could freestyle as well. All right. So we speak that 2 weeks ago, we said that Jacob, his brother Esau wanted to kill him. So he's running away from Israel. He took the blessings from his brother. Right? We spoke about that. He's running away. He ends up in a place called Haran, where his uncle Laban lives. And he's over there that he spends 22 years, and he really becomes an employee of Laban, ultimately marries his 2 daughters. Is it kosher to marry 2 sisters? The Torah forbids it. How's it possible that one of our patriarchs and our matriarchs violated a law in the Torah? You can argue. Okay, I'll answer this soon, but just something to think about. Remind me to answer that question. Okay. He on his way, he goes on this Mount Moriah where the temple would be built one day, and he has a famous dream where there's a ladder from the earth to the heavens, and the angels are going up and down the ladder. Remember that story? Okay, good. So we read a little bit about that. And he realizes this is a holy place. He gets up, he makes this offering to God, and he promises God that if God protects him and makes him successful, he will give 10% of everything he owns or makes to charity. Okay, so rephrase this in a question. How much money is a B'nai Noach or a Jewish person supposed to give to charity? So we read about Jacob making a pact with God, asking God to bless him, and he says, I'll give you 10%. So that is the tradition. We are supposed to give 10% of what we make to charity. And God says, test me when it comes to charity. You're not supposed to test. Are you supposed to test God? The answer is generally no, but there's one exception. When it comes to charity, God says, test me. You'll see. If you give charity, I will pay you back 10 times as much. So we as human beings are responsible to recognize that our blessings come from God and recognize that there are other people in the world that need, and we're supposed to give 10% of whatever we make to those that are unfortunate or to good um, organizations or movements. And this has nothing to do with your taxes. Taxes are a different calculation. And God says, if you do this, I will uh, pay you back 10 times. So if you give, so I'll make a little advertisement because this week on Thursday, did anyone get the emails from us? On Thursday, they're going to do our big matching campaign. Every dollar we raise, it's real, gets matched by a matcher in 36 hours. And this is like our big push for the winter. We have one in the summer, one in the winter. Otherwise, we pretty much don't bother. So if you're going to give $100 to the campaign, that means God says, test me, I'm going to give you back 1,000. But imagine you give 1,000. Ooh, it's sounding good already. All right. Anyway, so fundraising advertisement is now over. And by the way, those that are watching online, I'm going to post a link on soon, and you could definitely contribute. Um, I really appreciate it. We produced over 1,000 pieces of content. Now with Humans for Noah, we probably produced about 1,400 pieces of content last year with over 100 million views. So we're teaching Torah, we're inspiring people to connect to Israel, and we don't charge for any of the content we put out. So if you feel inspired, reach out to me. I'll send you a link, and everything you do will be doubled, and it's a super mitzvah. All right, moving right along. You can if you want. Oh, if you give anonymously, that's on our website, there's a button for anonymous. That's a super way to give a mitzvah where no one knows. However, here's something to think about. If because you give tzedakah, someone else is going to say, oh, that person gave, I should also give, you know? Right. So, exactly. Of course you are. You guys are the leaders of the community. All these other schleppers, they don't come every week. You guys are the machers, I'll tell you. So I guess to rephrase the question, by the way, if you're wondering why I keep rephrasing questions, because in my mind, if there's an idea that could be a 30-second video, I rephrase it, it works. So if you're wondering why I'm like rephrasing, that's what's going on. You guys are watching me live. Okay. Rabbi Mendel Grossbaum, owner of Friendship Circle in Livingston. I know him well, great rabbi. Question about revenge in relationships. Ooh, your personal life. Maybe we'll get back to that later. Good question. Okay, so are you supposed to give charity anonymously or let people know? So the higher level of giving charity is doing it anonymously, a way that you don't know who's getting it, and the one who gets it doesn't know that you gave it. That's like super. However, something to keep in mind is sometimes when a person gives charity and others find out about it, it might inspire them to give charity. Yeah. He's on the phone. Oh, yeah. Right. Right. That's true. That's right. You don't know exactly which person comes to Shabbos dinner. You don't know what it goes. Yeah, so you're right. That's right. That middle ground. And if you want, you could click anonymous on the website. No one knows aside from me, but your secret's good with it. All right. All right. Okay, so it was here that he makes this promise to God. He has this vision. The angels are up and down the ladder. He realizes it's a holy place. He says, God, I don't know what's going to be. I'm a kid running for my life. By the way, at that point, he was broke. A little while before that, he was very wealthy. Why? His father, Yitzchak, was very wealthy, gave him some money. He says, go to Uncle Laban. He ran away. His nephew, Esav's son, was sent to murder him. He shows up, Esav's son shows up and says, my dad said I got to kill you, but you're my uncle. I like you. You give me Hanukkah gel, good presents. I don't know. I like you. So what did I do? So I mentioned this in my other class. I'm trying to give new content because I know some of you listen to my Wednesday night class. But this is an interesting idea. The Talmud says a poor person is considered left for the dead. It's considered dead, which is strange. How do we understand that? That's what we were trying to grapple with last time. Why would the Talmud say a poor person is considered dead? There's so many beautiful poor people that are so wonderful in the world, and maybe they don't have a lot of money, but they lift people up, they smile, they help. Why does it say the left for the dead? So the only answer I could think of, it also says in the Mishnah, which is like the Talmud, it says, who is a wealthy man? He who is happy with his lot. That's wealth. So what does that mean? It means you could have a lot of money, but be considered poor according to the Talmud. So maybe when the Talmud says a poor person is someone a poor person is considered dead, it means it's a person who doesn't appreciate what they have. You don't appreciate what you have, you're not truly living. That's the only way I could explain this teaching. Anyway, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. So he says, here, take all my money to Esav's son. This way, when you go back and your dad says, did you do it? You can say, yeah, I did it. What did you do? He's dead. He's poor. All right. What do you think about the extremists who say they're going to destroy Esav? I guess you're referring to people who take a particular group of people and call them Esav and say we have to destroy them. So first of all, there's no mitzvah to destroy Esav in the Torah. We don't destroy Esav. There's only a mitzvah to protect yourself if someone's trying to murder you. So just to go and choose people and say they're Esav and kill them, that's not a Jewish thing and it's not acceptable. Does that answer your question? Did you teach Big Justice? Yes, so I did actually. Big Justice is like boom, 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 right? That's the family on TikTok. They have like 10 million followers. So he was in our Hebrew school. That's my claim to fame. And I still have the dad's cell phone. I text them sometimes. Happy Hanukkah. Still trying to do a big boom, boom, boom bar mitzvah. You ever see this family on? Oh my gosh, they got like all these followers, and they like rate restaurants, and then they eat the food, and they go, "How many booms does it get?" They all start yelling, "Boom, boom!" Anyway, very cute. But I don't know. Kind of feel like I could take all the credit for their success. Kid went to my Hebrew school after all, right? All right. All right, moving right along now, here we are. He comes to Haran, he meets Rachel, his cousin. He falls in love with her. He wants to marry her. He asks Laban, his uncle, can I marry Rachel? He says, no problem. Work for me for 7 years. He works for 7 years. I have microphones in. That's not going to work. I apologize. I won't be able to. Yeah. You just put in a plate, grab a plate or something. Okay. So he works for 7 years for Laban. And now there's the wedding. And at the wedding, you have the veil, right? And after the marriage, the next morning, who is it? It was Leah, the twin sister. He got swindled. He was a little trickster himself, if you think not too earlier, right? So he goes to Laban, uncle, what's going on? I was going to marry Rachel. He gave me Leah. Oh, we don't let the younger one get married without the older one getting married first. That's our tradition. So what do I do? He says, well, work for me for another 7 years. So they have a 7-day break because there's something called the Sheva Brachas. At a wedding, you're supposed to wait 7 days after the wedding and have celebrations with the bride and groom. And everyone, different families host the bride and groom. It's called the Sheva Brachas, 7 days of blessing. Really cool. So they wait. This is the source, by the way, here. This is the source of the 7 blessings. Okay. He marries Rachel too. He works another 7 years. He tells his wives at one point, I didn't sleep at night. I worked in the cold. I worked in the heat. I gave everything to your dad. Laban keeps trying to trick him, take a cut of whatever he makes. Finally they have to leave. That's the story in short. A few questions. Something that we mentioned on Shabbos is you have Yaakov is the first employee. Think about it. Abraham and Isaac were independently wealthy. They have their own businesses, their own enterprises. They don't work for anyone. Yaakov works. He makes Laban extremely wealthy. He gets a cut of it at the end when he negotiates a deal. It keeps changing on him, whatever. But you see that and our sages say this imagery of Yaakov going to work for someone for 22 years just to put a roof over his head, to raise a family, is really the mission of a soul coming down to this world. A soul thinks, oh, I'm coming to the world, I'm going to go do mitzvahs. Yeah, you could do mitzvahs, but guess what? You need this green stuff in order to make things. You have to work and you have to work. And the soul says, why did you send me down here to work, get my hands dirty and work? What happened to all the holiness and the blessings I could get through mitzvahs? And God says, you don't understand. It's through working in the world that you could elevate the world. When you make money and then from the money you help other people with that, you just elevated your money. You elevated all that sweat that you put into your work. That's the purpose of what it's all about. And so there are many religions that will tell you, you want to be spiritual, you have to go and meditate and go out to the nature and just leave civilization and pray. And Judaism says, well, those things are fine only if it gets you back into the world so you actually can make the world a better place. Help people, lift people up, do mitzvahs. That's what it's all about. And this idea of Yaakov leaving and like trying to earn a living and raise a family, ultimately we'll read next that he fathers the 12 tribes of Israel. And that all happened not when he was studying Torah, but when he was trying to work hard for his uncle. So the work is actually holy. It sounds so unholy, but work is actually holy because it's through working in the world that we can impact the world and we could change the world, and ultimately we could elevate the world. And that's kind of a paradigm shift. All right, so let's address Yaakov marrying two sisters. the Torah forbids it. Is a Noahide allowed to marry two sisters? The Torah forbids it. It's considered to be like unhealthy and an immoral thing to do. So I think that would apply to Noahides as well. Bnei Noach should have married two sisters. Which brings another question. Should a Noahide marry two wives? In the Bible, people marry two wives. Should a Bnei Noach marry two wives? What do you think? So I'll tell you the Jewish answer, and then we could apply the universal answer. Biblically, there was no prohibition for a man to marry more than one wife. As we see, Abraham had multiple wives, Isaac, so on and so forth. About 1,000 years ago, there was a rabbi by the name of Rabbeinu Gershon. And because of a very dramatic story, which I'm not going to get into, he found it necessary to ban the practice of marrying more than one woman, which makes a lot of sense to us. At the same time, yeah. Yeah, at the same time, right? Someone can marry, divorce, and get married. That's what it is. At the same time. So he put a ban on polygamy. Rabbeinu Gershon put a ban on polygamy for 1,000 years, which was just recently up. But no religious authority extended it and allowed. No religious authority decided to allow that now polygamy is okay. So the status quo is it's considered forbidden. But biblically, it wasn't a problem. It's something that was added because it makes sense. Perhaps people's are different. Maybe their egos are different. Maybe we can't handle it. I don't know, but it now is considered forbidden. And not only in Jewish law, but in the, right, state of New Jersey and in secular law. Everywhere but Utah, it's also forbidden. He forbade it. Is that the word? Forbade? Yeah. Did I say that right? Okay. He forbade it because it became it became very unhealthy. The relationships where there was too much jealousy, there was too much fighting, it it just it was not leading to healthy relationships. And he says this is wrong. Today everyone agrees, but Rabbeinu Gershon 1,000 years ago said this wrong. By the way, there were Jewish people who were found in different parts of Africa where they were separated from the Jewish community for thousands of years. And when we found them and we brought them to Israel, they came with multiple wives because we have not been in contact with them since before Rabbeinu Gershon banned it. They never banned it. The Ethiopian Jews, yeah, yeah. Oh, who gave that? Yeah. Oh, cool. Okay, yeah, yeah. I love that. So yeah, so Ethiopian Jews did have multiple wives. So we could just obviously we could apply that to a B'nai Noach as well. Anything that is considered. So for B'nai Noach, there's two problems with multiple wives. One is the government doesn't allow it, and we are obligated to establish courts of law and follow those laws. That's one reason. But also because the rabbis uh, made it considered immoral and wrong, that would carry on to everyone because that would carry across all. Um, it became standard practice. So, what do you think? Is it a good idea to have more than one wife at the same time? Let us know. Let us know in the comments. Um, someone once told me I could barely get along with my own wife, my one wife. You want to give me two? No, no, that was considered biblically, that was considered a problem. Right. So it's interesting, right? So when I said a man and two wives, that was actually allowed, but not the other way. Now, why? I don't know. But it doesn't mean that this is what God wants. It just means there wasn't a rule against it, right? It wasn't like an obligation, but as we see, it was very normal. No, that's just as yeah. So the Torah says it's forbidden to marry two sisters, yet Jacob was married to Rachel and Leah, two sisters. How is that okay? So some would answer that he didn't keep the Torah because it wasn't given yet. But anyone who studies realizes that we know that they knew of the Torah that would be given. They were trying to keep Passover. They were trying to keep to fill in all these different kind of laws, even though it wasn't given. So it doesn't make sense that they would violate that. So how does that fly? I believe one of the answers that's given is that he promised Rachel that he was going to marry her, and his father tricks him. So now he has the problem where he's breaking her heart, and a promise is an obligation for anyone to keep. Everyone's obligated, even before the Torah was given, you're obligated to keep a promise, right? That is one of the seven Noah practices to not steal, right? So he was obligated that. Not marrying two sisters, that would come later on. He could choose to follow that, but now he has two things against each other. Lying, not keeping his word, versus a mitzvah that wasn't yet given. So that will override, and because that obligation overrides a mitzvah that wasn't given, he was obligated to keep his promise. The other thing is that one of the reasons, why can't someone marry two sisters? So the sages say there are different reasons given, but one of the biggest reasons is because of jealousy. And it would rip at the relationship of two sisters who are connected very deeply if they were in this relationship with the same person. Rachel and Leah were an exception because we see in the story that the way that Yaakov got tricked is Yaakov thought he was going to get tricked. So he gave some secret signs. I don't know, was it tapping the foot under the wedding canopy? I don't know. You know, Marco Polo. I don't know what the passport was, but whatever it was, when she found out her sister was getting replacing her, she didn't want her sister to be embarrassed in front of everyone. And to save her sister from embarrassment, she was willing to relinquish the ability. She never thought she'll even get married to Yaakov. She was in love with him, but she was cared about her sister's dignity so much that she was willing to do that. So the commentaries say we see from there that their connection was very, very deep and it wouldn't get ruined. Maybe that's why it was okay. This is how the sages try to understand these stories, which have good questions, right? Hmm. A lot of good questions coming in on TikTok, guys. I'm in the middle of the class, so it's hard for me to answer everything now. Maybe soon, all right? Let's see, and there's also questions coming in on the other app too. Let's see what's happening here. Okay. 61 comments. Sorry, guys. I know you want me to answer all your questions. It's hard for me to do it during a class, but I'll keep this open. Um, is there Jewish DNA and is Yiddish a Semitic language? All the good questions here. Where Jewish ethnically can be both religious and DNA. All right, I'm not going to answer all these questions now, but keep following and there'll be opportunities, all right? Okay. I do have some questions that came in last week. We could try to answer some of those as well. I think people find it interesting. So I'm going to go through the questions. Did I answer what does repentance look like for a B'nai Noach? I did last week, right? 3 steps. Um, okay. How do I deal with doubts? So this question was sent in to me. How do I deal with doubts? Someone says, I'm a Noah. Someone says, I'm a B'nai Noach. I follow the 7 laws of Noah. How do I deal with doubts? Am I making the right religious choices? So what would you guys answer if someone asked you that question? How do you deal with doubts? What are the doubts? What kind of doubts do you think a person could have? A particular faith. Yeah, that's a very good question. So I guess it goes back. I think a person has to keep on asking questions, and doubt is a very human, natural human reaction. We learn in life that you can't just trust everyone and believe blindly. Actually, as children, we kind of have blind faith. We could tell our children about Santa Claus and the fairy and Tooth Fairy, and they believe, right? And then they figure out that people have been lying to them, taking advantage of them, and so we put up these walls around ourselves where we don't just believe everything, and that's good. It's for our protection, right? Um, so I think doubting is a natural thing. It's a good thing. I have no idea what the lights are flickering. Might be a ghost in the building. Maybe the ghost is saying, "You're doubting? Hey, look at this." Um, I think that in Judaism, and it'll apply to B'nai Noach as well, there's no obligation to believe anything. We cannot, there's no commandment to believe in God. It says, V'ahavta, and you will love the Lord your God, but it doesn't say that you shall love the Lord your God. Before it says that, it says, Hear, O Israel, the Lord your God, the Lord is one. Understand. And so the only commandment really is to study. We have an obligation to search, to study to seek the truth. And as long as we're seeking and we're being honest with ourselves, we'll come to believe eventually. But if we're not believing right now, we can't just be forced to believe something. We should constantly challenge ourselves. We should constantly search, and we should constantly ask questions. If you're part of a movement that doesn't let you ask questions, it's probably a red flag, and you probably shouldn't be following such a faith. If the faith says you have to blindly believe, that there's a red flag over there. It needs to be a place that welcomes questions and celebrates questions, and a person has to keep on searching. So our obligation really is to study and think about God. Think about our purpose. Why are we here? What's it all about? And if we keep searching, the truth will come to us. So I think, how do I deal with the doubt? I think that two things. Questions are healthy. We should explore those doubts. At the same time, there's two kinds of doubts. I think this is my answer. There's two kinds of doubts. There's a legitimate question about God, about our purpose, about B'nai Noach, about Hashem, about the Torah. Nothing wrong with that. Ask those questions and search as much as we can. But then there are senseless doubts. And that's that little, that voice in the back of our head that just, it's mocking. It's not asking because it wants an answer. It's asking because it just wants all the, all the responsibility to go away. So I think we have to be very careful about that kind of doubt. A question is good. A senseless doubt is unhealthy. You can watch the sea split and walk through it with Moses and get to the other side, and then that doubt's going to say, maybe I was just dreaming. That's senseless. What do you mean? I just saw a miracle in front of my eyes. You can have a question that's a doubt and say, how do I know this is true? That's something you should pursue. But ask yourself, what's the doubt coming from? Is it coming because I want to just live a guilt-free life? I want to live a life with no responsibilities, and I don't want this burden of a God in my life, so I just dismiss everything without even thinking deeply? That's an unhealthy doubt. I have a real question because I'm searching for the truth, so I have a doubt. That's a healthy doubt. Yeah.
You're human being, as a human being, you lost something that was so connected. But I also said you will bounce back once you get your answer.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You'll be back. But
Yeah.
at this time, it's okay.
It's okay to be angry at God. It's okay to question God. And even to have a healthy doubt about what's going on. But just get to the core. What's the doubt doing? Is the doubt looking for the truth or not? You see people arguing today, especially in politics. And one person is talking and the other one is already thinking about what they're going to respond. They're not listening. That's not a conversation. That's not searching for answers. You don't have questions, you have answers. Is your question a question, or is your question an answer? Which, by the way, is a famous story. I might have shared this with you once, but they tell the story of a Hasidic Jew who grew up in a very religious community. And he strayed off the path and he became very secular. One day he was passing by his village and he heard the singing from the synagogue and he could smell the food, and this childhood nostalgia got the best of him, and he wandered in and he found himself sitting at the table singing songs and studying with the Rebbe. And finally the Rebbe welcomes him, and finally he turns to the Rebbe and says, Rebbe, please, I had questions, that's why I left. If you could just answer my questions, I'll never leave again. And the Rebbe says, I can't answer your questions. He says, why not? He says, because your questions aren't questions. He says, what do you mean? He says, your questions are answers. He says, no, they're not, they're questions. He says, no, your question is there so that you don't have to have the responsibility or the burden of a God in your life. So then you could go eat whatever you want, do whatever you want to do, act however you want to act, and then nothing is restricting you. You dismiss God. So your question is really an answer. It's an answer to your desires. You have a vision of a free life that you want to live. And so you invented questions so that you could live that free life. He says, I can't give an answer to an answer. I could only give an answer to a question. So going back, how to deal with doubts. So now I'll try to answer it in short. So someone asks, how do I, as a B'nai Noach, deal with doubts? Am I making the right religious choices? So the response is, there's two kinds of doubts. There's real questions where you're searching for the truth. You should always ask those questions and dig deeper. But be careful. Sometimes our questions are just excuses so we don't have to believe in a higher power, so we can live a life however we want and not feel guilty about our behavior. If our doubts are those silly, senseless doubts, then they're really answers to our lifestyle. And you can't really answer an answer. You can only answer a question. So ask yourself, what kind of doubt am I having? Is it a serious yearning for truth? Go down that path. Don't be afraid. Ask the hard questions. Think about it. Meditate about it. If they're just questions so you could dismiss a belief in God, so you can just move on with your life, those are unhealthy doubts. Those should be pushed away. Okay. Yeah, good. Let's apply it. Right. Right. It's
I believe
yeah.
being a father for people that have been in that position, that time, through their pain, they just think, I lost my son or my daughter.
Right.
And I had a friend who lost his daughter too. And at that time, you're gonna have all kind of doubt
Yeah.
because it's something that you love.
And the person's in pain, you
Yeah,
can't
it's in pain.
you can't really start like lecturing people who are in pain. Like you almost got to be with them. If someone like lost someone, if someone loses someone, a loved one, if someone loses a loved one and doubts God, it's the wrong time to have a conversation about God. At that time, that person needs a big hug and needs to be able to experience their loss and their mourning. And we don't have to get philosophical on them and get them to believe anything. But I think what you said was nice. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
And
I,
he said, "Can you call my wife?"
that's a beautiful thought. Right. That was, yeah, if he received that, it came from the right place. I guess like the question is like if you could have it your way and you only have a choice to have that person for 23 years in your life or never to have that person at all? What would you choose? You know, right? So it is a tragedy and it does hurt. Um, but I think your answer was very beautiful. And what you were talking about is also something that's brought down. At the time where the pain is raw, it's not the right time to have the conversation. But the belief that every soul comes to this world, why do some people die young? It's really difficult. We don't know the answers. We don't understand God's ways. However, we know and we believe that every soul comes to this world and has a mission and a light to bring. And when that soul passes on, it returns to its source, God. And depending on how it acted, that's the place it has near God. So if someone leaves this world early, in many ways, while it's a tragedy to us, that soul completed its mission and God calls it back. And yeah,
You told me this years ago when I lost my nephew.
Yeah.
And I went to bawl my eyes out. Wow. I still
special souls are able to accomplish a lifetime in a shorter amount of time.
brought me so much joy back to my heart.
Yeah. We don't know what the mission is, but we believe that there's no such thing as a person being in this world without a purpose. So like assisted suicide, absolutely not. Well, why not? I'm laying in bed, I'm in pain. No. God put you here. You're doing something. Your soul is doing something. We don't understand also most souls have been here many times before and they're trying to accomplish something. So we could be stuck on like, I need you here, but that soul needs to accomplish something and then it could go move on to where it's supposed to go. It's painful for us, but the belief is God's keeping score. God knows what's happening. And there's a certain humility and respect that's, or we stand back, we say, we don't understand God's ways. Just don't understand it.
I think for me, it's
Mhm.
important. I don't mind doubting myself or doubting my process. I question it, like, am I still in alignment? Did I veer? Am I on a tangent?
Yeah,
Okay, but I never doubt Hashem.
right. Okay. That's a
Self-doubt.
that's a good place to get. Right. Right. But it took you work to get where you are. A lot of people need to go through that process. They'll have doubts about God, especially when they're younger, and then hopefully eventually they could get to that place. And we have to let them figure it out. Right? They say if you believe in God, there's a lot of questions we don't know how to answer. Like why do bad things happen to good people, and why do good people die young, and why do the good suffer? And it's really difficult questions. But actually, if you don't believe in God, you have a lot bigger questions to answer. Like how did this whole world, this intricate world, come to be? A mistake? I don't know about that. So everyone's stuck with questions. Question is, who's stuck with the bigger questions? Oh, I know the answer. There was a big boom and everything just evolved, including my cell phone, from a big boom. All right, well, if that makes sense to you and you could sleep at night, fine. That's as much of a leap of faith to me as saying there's a God. I'd love to hear from our atheist followers if you have another way of thinking about it. Yeah. Right. Unless he chooses to. No, we don't have that. Right. 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 In many religions, there's this God and a devil, and they're like sort of fighting, and we're stuck in the middle. Um, in the Torah view, the devil works for God. The Satan, or the Satan, is employed by God to test us, and has no. Yeah, the Satan has no skin in the game. He's an employee. He's created by God to test us. He's not interested in us failing. Hopefully, he actually wants us to not listen to him, but he's good at his job. Really good. Right? Got him to do that. The wicked do not understand that it is in order for the wicked to be destroyed that Hashem allows the wicked to thrive in this world. I don't know so many real wicked people. I know people that are hurt, they hurt others. I don't know if they're, most people I know aren't truly wicked. I think most people are good with very bad decisions. That's why teshuva is always available.
I think the experience
Right. Right. Well, if we don't work on ourselves, right.
Their anger makes them become.
Right. But I think their
That's
essence is good. I think their essence is good. Now, after a while, there are people that are just doing bad stuff. You got to take them out, lock them up. It's just what you got to do in order to have a just society. But I think the essence, people are good. Yeah. Yeah.
You learn that some people don't have a chance from the day they're born. It's like they're born to be family.
Oh, yeah.
So,
That's why.
touch.
So we had a question. I'll finish with this just on that point. We had a question last week. There's a ladder, right? Jacob's dream, there's a ladder. So the question is, who's closer to God? Let's say there's a ladder. One person's on the third rung and one person's on the eighth rung. Who's closer to God? So conventional thinking would say the one on the eighth rung. But the other question is, which way are they going? And where were they born? So you gave an example of a person that was born in a terrible home with no parents, and drugs and all that, no school, right? They were born like below the ladder, but they picked themselves up and against all odds and with no support, they're now on the third rung. Look how far they've come. And spiritually, it's a person who maybe was raised with no morals, but fought all those inclinations. They fought all those addictions and all those inclinations, and they made themselves into an upstanding person. Now they're on rung number 3. But then you could have someone that was born on rung number 10 into a healthy family with good values, belief in God, right? And then that person just got lazy and their morals went down, and now they're on rung 8. So who's closer to God? Yeah. It's a self journey. Where am I coming from? So we often look at a person, where are they at? But the other question is, where are they coming from? And where are they going? I think that ties into what you were saying. And that, my friend, wraps it up with Rabbi Raps. Yeah, so you guys, hopefully you'll see my campaign go live on Wednesday. We're raising funds for the work we do in the community. Everything you donate will be doubled. We only do this once a year, so we don't harass people. But if you would like to help me, just send me a message and I'll send you a link. It's a big mitzvah. Good people, good cause, if I say so myself. Okay,